Life without the HOA, the untold truth about freedom, chaos, and community. When the Monroe family moved into their new home on the edge of town, they weren't just buying a house. They were opting out of something that had ruled their lives for years, the HOA. Their old neighborhood, a tightly regulated community with freshly painted mailboxes and matching yard gnomes, had drained them. It wasn't just the monthly dues or the passive-aggressive notices about their trash bins. It was the feeling of being watched, of needing permission to live. So when they stumbled upon a 3-bedroom ranch with a wide front lawn, a weathered fence, and most importantly, no HOA, it felt like freedom. At first, life was beautiful. No board, no fines, no surveillance. Want to paint the shutters crimson red? Done. Want to plant wildflowers along the sidewalk? Go for it. Nobody was going to issue a citation for leaving a garden hose out overnight or hanging holiday lights in November. The neighbors were a mix. Some had lived there for decades, old-timers who knew the land better than the zoning board. Others were newer families, many of them former HOA refugees like the Monroes. People waved from porches. Kids rode their bikes without helmets or worry. But over time, the cracks began to show. One neighbor, Mr. Riggs, stopped mowing his lawn. At first, it was just a few weeds, then knee-high grass. Eventually, what looked like a car door rusted in the middle of it. Another house had a broken-down RV parked in the driveway for months. A third set off fireworks in the street every Friday night. There was no one to complain to. No rule book, no fines, no enforcer. When a stray dog knocked over trash bins on the block, the garbage sat in the gutters for days. When someone dumped a torn mattress by the woods behind the cul-de-sac, it stayed there for a month. A few neighbors grumbled. Someone mentioned starting a community committee, but nobody wanted to be that guy who acted like an HOA. Then came the argument. 2 houses down, a dispute erupted between the Parkers and the Avilas. The Parkers had installed a chicken coop. Legally, they could, but the smell and noise drove the Avilas nuts. The yelling escalated into threats, and the police were called, twice. With no board to mediate or step in, things got uglier. One morning, someone egged the chicken coop. The next, a car tire was slashed. People started locking their doors a little earlier. Neighbors stopped waving. Lawns looked less tidy. Trust began to erode. The Monroes were torn. They didn't miss the petty rules. But they missed the structure, the invisible net that had kept some order, even if it came with overreach. So they called a neighborhood meeting, not to form an HOA, not exactly, but to talk. They met in someone's backyard, no permission needed. Lawn chairs circled, kids played while adults shared frustrations, and something remarkable happened. They agreed on a code, a voluntary pact. Basic expectations: mow your lawn, don't dump trash, no loud parties after 10. If someone had a problem, talk first before calling the cops. It wasn't binding, but it was something. In the weeks that followed, the trash was cleaned up. The RV moved. Even Mr. Riggs got a mower, with a little help from the teenagers on the block. It wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. And that, the Monroes realized, was the difference. Without an HOA, you lose the rules. But you gain something else, the chance to write your own, to talk to your neighbors instead of sending anonymous complaints, to build trust, not bureaucracy. Living without an HOA isn't for everyone. But in the Monroe neighborhood, it became not just an escape, but a lesson in what real community can look like when people choose it, not when they're forced. Headline: Freedom or chaos? What really happens when you live without an HOA?